on that note, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Onger Files. I'm your host, Dr. Freedom. And tonight, we've gathered to sit down and have a little talk about Before the Flood. Okay, joining me tonight on the panel, let's get hey there, hi there, ho there from everybody. Let's start with AJ.
Hi there, and don't conquer me just yet, thanks.
William.
Hey now, how you doing, everybody?
Ryan.
Hey guys, what's up?
Graham.
I'm here to reverse engineer the narrative. How we doing?
And sounding like Colony Surf tonight, Phillip.
Good evening.
Texas Tim.
Hello.
BeefHead.
The ice, the whiskey, the glass, the cola. It's my drink of choice.
And Matt Rose.
Hello.
Okay, so this one, definitely exploits one of those classic old paradoxes. You know, they did a little timey-wimey trick on us, but at the same time gave us a good story to boot. Okay, let's start with opening thoughts. Let's start with, let's start with BeefHead. What are your opening thoughts on this one?
It was a good resolution. It wasn't over-complicated. It wasn't over timey-wimey. Last week I did get a bit of a time-heisty feeling to it, and it wasn't sitting well with me. This was definitely the stronger part of the two. So, yeah, I've walked away from it happier than I was at the end of last week.
Okay, all right, Matt Rose, what about you? Are you there, Matt?
Got busted.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I really enjoyed it very much. It was just so great to finally get it all out in the open, how it all happened. Yeah, it was just fantastic. I went back and rewatched it with the lights off. It was very suspenseful the second time watching it. And I felt, and there was one bit I was really scared watching when Clara was just on her own. I thought she was going to die, but obviously not. It's just a very great atmospheric story and very well done. I loved it. It's such better resolution, and it is stronger, as we said, than the last one.
Okay, Texas Tim.
I thought it was excellent. I thought it was a really good resolution to the last week's episode, and I think it seems like everybody was talking so much about it being a new darker Doctor. It seems like this series is going a bit dark, isn't it? Because this was like a horror movie, but the Doctor himself isn't that dark. I mean, what kind of awesome intro is that, where he's just walking around giving us a lecture about Beethoven? I mean, that's really cool, whipping out his records and just, addressing the audience to their face. That's pretty cool. I dig that a lot. I liked the whole style of it, though. It's very horror movie when the cast is walking, and then of course they turn the sound off so you can be inside her head. When the guy's following her with the axe, that's very, very good. Very good direction at that point. So yeah, I enjoyed it very much.
Okay, next up, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, the season is still going strong. I loved this episode. I thought it was a really good finish to the two parts story. The horror, like Tim said, when they turned the sound off when Moran was following Cass, I thought that was ingenious, and I said to my friend that why hasn't that really been done in much? Because it's such a, genius idea, putting a deaf person in that kind of environment. It's like, that's kind of like horror gold right there. So, I mean, yeah, I just felt really satisfied at the end of this, and, a little bit of timey-wimey in there, which, is good now and then.
Okay. Graham.
Excellent follow-up to what we got last week. It continued the suspenseful, eerie, atmospheric ongoings of what went before. Loved the whole 1980s Scottish outdoor scenes, the direction, the funeral parlour get up, the effects on the Fisher King were phenomenal. The timey-wimey aspect, okay, I dare say there'll be some naysayers out there that say, oh, well, we told you the Doctor was going to be in the chamber and we told you his ghost was a hologram as a result of the glasses. I don't give a rat's ass. This was phenomenal.
Okay, and the man of few words tonight, please forgive me, he's got a little bit of laryngitis. Let's go to Phillip. Give us just a few words, Phillip, on what you felt about this one.
I thought it wasn't as
engaging as the original, as the first part, because in the first part it was more ramped up and for tension. This one was a bit slower and more sedated. But I did love the Fisher King. He was a fantastic looking creature, and I'm going to watch it again later just to indulge myself in it.
All right, moving on over to William.
Oh yeah, seeing that this is the second part of a two-part story, it really was a great resolution to it. And the Fisher King was a great character. Hopefully, we might see more of his species, some further story on down the road. Seeing how the two-way communication with the doctor and Clara on the cell phone was pretty smart. As I said, if any other future episodes like this happen where they separated, this is a good way for them to communicate and help each other out. And that really stood out to me.
All right, and moving on to AJ.
Yep. This episode was actually quite strong, I thought. I enjoyed the whole, everyone keeps saying timey-wimey of it. I think it was more McCoy style, where he outfought the guy on the fly, the alien, Fisher King. So that aspect I really liked. It was classic. The whole thing with the TARDIS screen, I had no idea it could go into landscape and picture mode. So that was pretty cool too.
Okay, let's open up the floor. Oh man, I don't even know where to start on this one. There was just so many nifty things. They kind of turned the whole thing. Everybody for the last week was sitting there going, "The doctor's going to die. He's a goner." And then he flipped it around on us. Was it just me, or was that like so Sylvester McCoy, man?
Very much.
Yeah, very much so.
And you know what? Unlike the first two-parter, they told us what they could do. I mean, they showed us that he could make a hologram out of Clara last week. So that's exactly what he did, and nobody even thought of that. They all thought something else. So, I mean, yeah, very clever.
It's one of the ones where the answer was in the original bloody well first part of the episode. So, sometimes seeing is believing, as they say. You just got to keep your eyes peeled.
I mean, really, all of the answers were right there in the first episode. They were just like hidden in plain sight, really.
The only answer was the second power-up thing from the ship. Like who took it and what was it used for? We found that out. Yeah, it was you. The doctor usually blow up the dam. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, the ship itself, because I was wrong. It wasn't a prison ship. It was a hearse.
Well, yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of weird. I love how he came on and explained the bootstrap paradox at the beginning a little bit.
Love that. Yeah, love the whole monologue.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, AJ.
What that word term come from? Bootstrap paradox.
Google it.
Google it. Yeah.
It's interesting. The painting turned out to be a red herring, didn't it? I mean, it had nothing to do with the story at all.
Yeah. No, but sorry, who's that?
Me quickly. I was going to say, did anyone else notice that his amp said it was from Magpie Electronics?
Oh, that was the idiot's lantern reference there.
There we go.
Yeah, because apparently if you go back and watch this, there's like references, little tiny things to like a whole list of episodes. So you're definitely going to want to go back, watch this one again with that list in hand. It's over on Blogger, I think.
I nearly threw up when they referenced Kill the Moon.
What?
Yeah, the bat thing coming out of the moon, yeah.
But right.
Yeah, because you had John Sachs and you had the bat thing coming out of the moon, and
I'm interested as to what the war thing she mentioned might potentially be, though.
Probably the Zygons.
He goes, no, never mind. I'll find out eventually.
Yeah, the outdoor shooting was very good. The look
Loved
of it.
that. Yeah.
The look of it. It's so damp looking and cloudy.
Well, sorry, Phil. Oi! Right, man. We got the answer to
in Scotland, though, or was that in Wales as well?
Probably in Wales. We got the answer to the Russian signs, at least.
Yeah.
So, at the height of the Cold War. So.
Yeah, proving ground. Yeah.
So that was like a dummy village to do exercises in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Like a training camp.
Yeah, because there was a dummy in the phone booth.
Yeah.
Mannequin.
And what I was surprised at is that there was a bit more death as well. I expected, to be honest with you, the two that he went back in time with, that they would both end up surviving, and they didn't. It was still had a tinge of tragedy going through it as well. So
Yeah.
there is that nice element to it. And
It's a minor quibble, though, that you had no idea that they were in any way at all a couple, really. I mean, not from the last episode. I got the idea that last week that the Cass and her interpreter had a kind of a thing going on because she kept him out of the thing. She wouldn't let him in. So she was very protective of him. I never got that idea about this couple, and it's just kind of quick that in this episode, all of a sudden, he's very upset that she bought it. So, I mean, that's just a minor quibble.
Well, it's one of them ones, it's how's that old saying go? You don't know what you've got till it's gone. So
true, yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's true. Well, I was a little upset that she died, man, but I want to know, she was such a big fan of being inside the TARDIS, jumping up and down about it.
Well, that's generally what happens, though, you get fans, you only need to get back to or a bucket.
But if you notice, the doctor wanted her to stay in the TARDIS, but he knew that she would have been the next one, and she didn't listen to him. That's what happens.
And I did like the turnaround with Prentice. We had him scary the first week, and we had him.
Everybody a rambling idiot. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, we've got a sign outside the town that said, if you occupy us, you'd be home already. That's
the most invaded planet in the universe.
Man.
We've been allowing invaders in such and such year. Okay.
I want more of them. They're freaking hilarious.
Well, we need to give some praise here to even the music complemented this well. The score really brought the atmospheric, vibe of the story to life.
I hope the guitar plays a running theme throughout the season.
Okay, who wants that? Who wants that theme to stay for the rest of the season?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Why not? Yeah.
It's kind of a throwback in a way to the Davison era, where they had a little bit of electric guitar mixed in. I kind of like it. It accommodates the new music really, really well. I think it complements it nicely.
Yes, it was very good.
Okay, anything else I want to bring up in this episode? Fisher King, menacing as freaking hell.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
He looked like a big budget Power Ranger monster.
Huge. It looked like one mean cockroach, man.
Ram, you mentioned CGI earlier. How much of that was actually CGI, do you think?
I don't know.
Pretty practical.
I think it was.
I think those tubes that were going up from the back of his head were blowing the air to make the mouth do that kind of thing.
Right. Well, if there was any CGI, it was probably 10-15% at best. So
when he got washed away by the water.
Yeah.
I know the voice actor was Darth Maul, but it kind of sounded a little bit like House from the Doctor's wife.
The house.
Well, the yell at the end there, that was done by the guy from Slipknot.
Corey Taylor, was it?
Yes.
And it was Peter Serafinowicz who did the voice.
I've got to give him major praise. That was one menacing voice he done for that, man. Really was.
It sounded like almost identical to House.
I noticed a tiny
continuity. Who cares?
Go ahead.
No, I just noticed a little tiny continuity error right there at the end when he's going towards the water. I mean, when he's going towards the dam and it starts to break open. For a second, it shows him his gun's not there. Then when he lifts up his arms, it is there again.
Oh my God, Tim! You've just gave them something to flaming bitch about on Gallifrey base.
Hey, these things happen. You get trained to watch them when you watch. I mean, look out for them. So.
Do your flaming fingers of fury? Yes. Okay. Yeah.
But fantastically realised. Excellent look. The voice is brilliant, and it had the equal amount of menace to it as well. But the fact is that he also said he was familiar with Time Lords, a race who had stood by the sidelines, then suddenly remembered the power they had and were more aggressive and realised they had teeth. That's
the love that line. Yep.
Superb squaring off against it. To be honest with you, yeah.
I love that look of fear he had when he was coming at him and he was saying all that. It's like, uh-oh. Then he turns around and flips it on him.
But that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, he thinks he's lied. He walks through it, the writing's still there. No, he's no lied. He's just set something else up. Look at the damn dairy.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
The funny thing I found too also was Clara trying to whisper to a deaf woman.
Wow, you know.
Who was that?
When she lost Cass, she was going back for her, and she was trying to find her, and she's whispering her name.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
yes, I'm an idiot.
Yeah, she said, I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that would only be natural. You don't think of that, in that situation. You're like, hey, where'd you go? Hey, oh crap, they're deaf.
That's why I think it was so effective when he's dragging the axe.
Yeah.
They show her point of view, and she doesn't hear a thing because she's deaf. I mean, that was very clever. They just turned the sound off, so you're like right inside of her head.
Yeah, but
Then
what about also?
Daredevil.
Yeah, I was going to say that when she touched the ground, she almost had like X-ray vision or sonic vision.
Yeah.
Also, when they had Moran dragging the axe, I had a quick flashback to Resident Evil.
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah, because you had the one zombie dragging the axe along beside him in that room, and that sound of it grating against the floor. And then you have that poor girl who can't hear a thing until she reaches down, she feels the vibration coming to the floor. That was just phenomenally brilliant, You gotta love that. Okay, Matt Rose, you've been too quiet. What do you want to throw in?
Come on, you.
Dubstep.
No, you've all covered it so well tonight. You've done it so brilliantly. I thought just that you all just take the reins.
That doesn't get you
Really enjoyed it so
All right, I
much.
googled it. I'm reading it right now.
Oh, the bootstrap paradox?
Yeah, it says the past event is then partly or entirely the cause of the future event, which is the past event's cause. Since a causal loop has no independent origin, it is called a bootstrap paradox.
There you go.
I think it's pulling off the old saying, about pulling yourself up by your own bootstraps. I think that's where it's supposed to come from, the bootstrap paradox.
Yeah.
But he gives a very good story in the beginning. Like, what if you went back in time and there was no, was it
Beethoven.
Beethoven.
There was not, but you were clever enough to bring all the sheet music with you, and you just published it under Beethoven's name. That wouldn't be legit, but it wouldn't, like you said, it wouldn't ruffle a feather, would it? So, I mean,
it's funny when he was regaling that story and he mentioned that bit. My mind just happened back to the Kingmaker.
But he underplays it with this didn't happen, by the way. Yeah. With a sort of nod and a wink type. Yeah.
It's as if he's saying to all the flaming finger boys out there, by the way, this happens and this happens. Don't look for a reason, just accept it.
Well, there is a story similar to that in the Dirk Gently novel by Douglas Adams, the first one anyway, where the guy actually does something like that, timey-wimey, to make the music happen in the future or something. But I wouldn't say that's a rip-off, since that was pretty much ripped off from Shada and City of Death. So there you go.
There you go, yeah.
Now, how many of us here who listened to Big Finish audios kind of knew the doctor was in the casket?
Well,
I would admit I felt this. We talked about it last week. That was a solution, but I was getting nervous because the way Clara was so yelling at him not to die. I actually thought he was going to change sort of history. I thought either he was going to destroy the ship right then and there before the people in the future found it, or he was going to do something to the future king that he was not going to wake up.
Well, the thing is, when you're presented with that kind of scenario in one episode, you can assume, but it's a 50-50 choice. I mean, you can say, okay, he either is or he isn't it. So half of you are going to be right, half of you are going to be wrong. It doesn't matter, really. I mean, it's just like the Missy Ronnie thing that you at the end of last series. I mean, it could have been the Ronnie, but it ended up being the Master. So, I mean, there you go. Half the people were right, half the people were wrong. So it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Don't have a fit at it, Yeah.
And don't wear a T-shirt next day. I was right,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Brag about it.
No, because it just reminded me of, I think it was, what was it, Death in the Family?
Oh yeah, McCoy. Yeah.
Spoiler alert for you folks who ain't listened to it. Oh yeah, it turns out that the future incarnation, the future version of the Seventh Doctor was in this casket, and they find him, and then the story goes on from there, and that's why it kind of reminded me of that story. Okay, we finally got to see Emergency Protocol enacted with a holographic Doctor of the 12th incarnation now.
That was
I was when I saw that, I say, let me see, 9th did it, 10th did it. I don't remember Smith doing it.
No, Smith has done it, I'm quite sure.
Stow your hand luggage.
Remember when Riverside poisoned him and he kept asking the TARDIS to choose a hologram of someone he liked?
No, but that was Amelia.
That was Amelia in the back.
No, it flicked through him as well. It went through him as well.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that was one of the images he put up was himself. That's right.
Did it talk? Did that image talk?
Yep. Yes.
Every time
Plus, it's kind of interesting that the TARDIS kind of played a part in this story. Like, it kind of knew what was going to go on. Remember, it arrives in the first part, it's like it's throwing a fit, and then he tries to leave, and instead of going to where he tells the TARDIS to go, it takes him back a half hour sooner.
Yep.
Yeah.
The cloister bill.
So I kind of like the fact they're playing on that relationship a little bit in this story, about the TARDIS is kind of keeping an eye on things.
Yeah, I think this is what I said before. It's not where he wants to go. It takes him where he needs to be.
Yeah, like Idris said, you know.
He gets a do-over.
That was weird.
So, also, we got a reset button in this story, but sadly, this time, nobody came back from the dead, did they?
No.
Reset button.
Kind of, sort of. You know, not really. It's a play on time in a way, but I love the way they did it. It was incredibly well thought out. We got to give Toby Woodhouse a pat on the back for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. He wrote really a good story here.
Good.
Anything else? All right, AJ, you had your hand up. What was it?
Yeah, sorry. I was going to say, actually, I was kind of surprised the way that guy was talking about the chick who died near the end of the episode. I'm amazed he didn't open the door and fling himself in there to be killed with her. The way he was speaking, it was almost like he was going to do it.
I don't think so. That would have been too much.
Yeah, that would have been a little weird to end it like that.
Yeah,
I think Clara needs to be discussed really after this one, because you've got where they're both separated. You know, you're very good at sending people off to do things. You're very good at putting people in danger. So she, in essence, is very similar to the Doctor. She's got to that point in there. You've got in the opposite side, you've got the Doctor. He's happy to let her die, but when it comes to it, it's going to be Clara's going to be next on the list. He's going to do everything he can to change it to save Clara. So they're both becoming very similar character-wise. She also implores him, you can't leave him. You can't leave me. You can't do this to me. Do it with the next person. If you have any sort of love for me, you will do this.
I think that's a bit much, though, isn't it? I think
she didn't need to say, if you love me in any way.
You're going to say, yeah, you cared.
I mean, in the sense
that's going to have people, going nuts.
I mean in the sense that like we said last week, all of a sudden she's gone from being, a bossy control freak to adrenaline junkie. I mean, that's not very likely to happen that quickly. It's something that should have developed. Again, you've got 10 to 12 hours to play with. You can't just have a whole story with them. Oh, look how much she does this or she does that. You know what I mean? So it has to be done quick. But I mean, it did seem kind of abrupt last week that suddenly she's like, I want to go see things explode and stuff like that. I mean, where did that come from all of a sudden?
How much time has passed since we last saw Clara?
That's what I was going to say. From last season to this season, how much time? It could have been a couple of years for her.
Well, her character seems to have changed fundamentally to a certain degree, though, that this is a coping mechanism for it. This has become her entire life.
Well, I wonder if this wouldn't have been a better opener than the other two-parter, because in the other two-parter, you assume from Christmas that they went off on it, and she was leaving her life behind. But when they opened up the opening story, there she is at the school teaching still, and the Doctor's nowhere to be found, and she's just used to that. So to go from that to this, for her character, seems a bit off. A little bit. I'm not complaining.
Well, let's see how it plays out. There might be a reason for it still.
Yeah.
But that's it. I think we've said before when we've spoken, is sort of like when the companion and the Doctor become very, very alike, then that's when you know that the companion is drawing, his interest or his relationship with that companion is coming to a close. I know we know it's happening anyway, but it's nice to see how that's being done, that you've got the parallel between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like Freedom said earlier, this the way she acted reminded me of Ace in Death in the Family. In that Big Finish audio, the way she acted when I don't want to get into it like that, on this.
I know what you're talking about when she had to give up her supported other wife, and
yeah.
That she was becoming manipulative like the Doctor.
Yep.
And that's why, she was, that's how her character basically fundamentally changed. And in my opinion, I think Claire's running away. I think she's using the Doctor to run away from reality now. She still hasn't faced up to the fact that, I don't think she's still gotten over Danny Pink's death and also what happened after, and she's using this as an escape from reality.
Although, to answer Ryan's question, I mean, the Grand Moff did come out and say, several time has passed, and this is the glory years, so to speak. They just go out there and take adventure by the scruff of the horns, and away you go. So, as I say, there might be a reason for the abrupt attitude change. We don't know. We're just going to have to watch and find out.
Well, funny, she still acts like that, and even though I'm bringing up the little trailer we got for next week, the way she was acting.
Again, how much time went by between that and the end of this? We don't know. At the end of the day, nothing's perfect. If the whole series pans out and this is how she goes until she leaves, if you don't like it, tough, it's done.
The only thing, she seems very comfortable, and like Freedom has said, it's a coping mechanism. But there's no inclination yet. We know it's building up to this point. We know it's going to happen. But I think it's going to be a good thing that's going to pull the rug from under a lot of people's feet. So it's going to be something stark and very hard-hitting. So I'm looking forward to it immensely.
Yeah.
And I know some people are looking forward to it for different reasons.
And you know what? Well, especially our buddy Val. But, but for different reasons... Huge praise to Jenna Coleman for the whole Attitude 360, because at the end of the day, we were all whining, bitching and complaining last year. Now you get the change, and, not that we're bitching, but you'll have other folk going, whining, bitching and complaining. Go for the ride.
I don't think anybody was complaining the way her character is this season. I think now they just complain that she's leaving. That was too bad. No,
but I'm saying the people out there complaining because, like we're touching upon, it's too much of a drastic change.
I mean, in Series 7B, she was all over the place. One episode should be, I don't want to say helpless, but, kind of, just there. And then in the next, she's, taking control and taking charge and all of that. And it felt so inconsistent. She was just a plot device in 7B. Series 8 comes around and all of a sudden she's like this bossy control freak. And it felt like they were trying to tack on a character. They're like, okay, so what can we do? What do we know we can do? And we'll just apply it to her. And I think I'm really liking the kind of adrenaline junkie thing this season.
You're always good as your last episode. Move on.
Yeah, the first part for me was time heisty. The conclusion was a bit more flatliney, which I liked more than that. So, yeah.
Yeah, that made it better. That
Oh, he's left again.
Yeah, he might be having internet troubles again. So, okay. Well, we've gabbed about anything. Any other points in this episode anyone want to bring up?
I said it briefly on the other chat. There's never been a villain who a supposed one-half villain who I've seen and right away went, I want him back right now. Fisher King, I'd quite gladly have him back.
When the doctor was all like saying I can't change time and all that, I get really annoyed when he says that. I know sometimes he can't and sometimes he can, but whenever he says that, it's just lost all meaning now that he's saved Gallifrey and changed hundreds of years of his life. It loses a little bit of meaning whenever he turns around and says, I can't change time, because he's done it and changed more than hundreds of years of his past.
He's not supposed to. That's him thinking out loud. Yeah, I can't do that. I'm not really supposed to do that. He can do whatever he wants.
But there's no one to control him.
Yeah.
That's why it does, and nobody can control him now.
Yeah, I mean, the Reapers showed up once and they've not come back, so screw them.
But he has to be careful anyway. I mean, he can't just...
Yeah, you got to be careful, because remember when in Big Finish what the ape did with Charlie, that caused a lot of problems further down the storyline.
That's for the Time Lord was still around.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. He's constantly walking a knife edge type thing. That he's got the time machine. He, like he says when he breaks the fourth wall at the start. You've got a time machine. Why not go back and meet your heroes? Do you know what I mean? You have that potential to always do that. So it's a very fine line that he treads all the time with it.
And as for the whole changing history thing again, Ryan, it's not that hard. All that still happened. It was just the end result that changed.
Yeah.
It's nudges. It's all about nudges.
It's all about nudges, yeah.
I mean, his big problem now is he can't find it. In his mind, he wants to go find it. He wants to go see his people, he says. Although why he wants to now, I can't think why, since he hasn't ever been bothered with them before. But, I mean, he wants to go find his people, and yet he can't. So that's his own personal tragedy. He pulled them out of there.
It was a little convenient thing that the timelines have changed so drastically you can't retain it. But if they would have retained that information, I'm pretty sure the Ninth Doctor would have went and saved Gallifrey pretty much straight away if he had
That's
retained.
the thing. It took hundreds of years of thinking on his part to figure out a solution.
Yeah.
That's what he says.
Well, I mean, you have the opening of Time of the Doctor when Clara says maybe it might be Gallifrey. You think you might have saved it. So even the 11th Doctor after the events wasn't sure if he saved it or not.
Yeah, until the crack opened. But that's the thing. Had the other ones retained it, then season 1 through 6 would have been, like you say, pointless, but they didn't retain it, so therefore, from Eccleston and Tennant's point of view, it still happened.
Yeah.
So.
Also, an interesting thing they did introduce towards the end of this episode, I noticed you can use the sonic sunglasses to take things out of people's minds.
Cool.
That might have helped a bit less painful with Donna back in the day, you know, but there you go.
Maybe that's how Clara leaves. Maybe she gets way too reckless and he's like, no, I can't deal with this anymore, and drops her off.
I really hope not, because that would be kind of a repeat of what happened with Donna Noble having to lose her memories. So I'm hoping they're going to go with something a little different when that comes up in the future.
The problem is that's always the problem, isn't it? When it comes to changing the Doctor or changing the character, the companion character, you have to try to come up with something new. And they've done so many different times. I mean, it's been around over 50 years now, so it's hard to come up with new ways for a good dramatic exit for either a Doctor or a companion.
Like, she's left so many times, and like they could have the most sad ending ever without her dying. Like, it could be like beautifully written and all of that. It could be like the most well-written companion departure of all time, but I'll still be upset because in the end it's another goodbye. And how many of those have we had from Clara?
It's not like he's just going to drop her off at a bus station and say, we'll see you. Okay, later. I mean, they got to do something with it. But I mean, for example,
I'm just going out for coffee and never come back. Yeah.
The stereotypical one is they get married off, like Joe Grant did. And Joe Grant did that.
And Leela.
That was an excellent ending to an episode, right? But I mean, what did the next girl say in line? I don't want to be married off. Sarah Jane said, I don't want to be married off, but I don't want to be killed off either. Find something cool for me to do. So the Doctor dumps her. I mean, it's just...
And then the next one there was Leela. What happened to her? She got married. I like you.
Well,
allegedly.
It's just...
That was like last minute. Oh, what do you mean you're not coming back next year? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Write something up real quick.
I'm not wearing your contacts. I'm out of here, man. Yeah.
Like, I mean, I was not a fan of Clara, but I had like a tear in my eye at the end of Last Christmas. I thought that was like, it took me out of the moment, and I didn't think for 1 second it would be a dream because I was so immersed in that ending. And then I just remember getting really freaking annoyed when, it was just all a dream. And I'm like,
well, at the end of the day, if the actress wants to stay for 1 more year, she's not going to appease you just because you want her to go. I mean...
no, I know that, but...
No, he feels cheated by the whole emotion, he says.
Yeah.
Well, that was tacked on. I mean, that's not the mob's fault. If the actress changes her mind...
Yeah, but like...
You could have said that at the end of the previous episode, because she leaves at the end of that one too, but then yet she's back for Christmas. I mean, so it's the same either way. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. She's walked away so many times that when she does walk away, it's not going to have an emotional impact. It's not going to...
Oh, you've already seen it.
Unless they whack her.
Yeah, even if they whack her, they've done it twice, albeit with echoes there,
Yeah, but like, for her to die, I think it just feels right. Like, I mean, I could be wrong. I might, if she does walk away and I mean, if I enjoy it and I'm satisfied by her leaving, then I'll be the first to admit I was wrong. But at the current I'm thinking like killing her off is just.
We don't know that's what they're gonna do. We don't know what they're gonna do.
So are you saying that the writers have trapped themselves with God because they don't know how to write her out?
Yep, you're damn right. Peter Capaldi is going to regenerate into Jenna Coleman at the end of this series.
No, I got a better one. She runs off with Missy.
Ooh, she pulls a Tamsin and goes with the Missy. Yeah.
I think they should, I think at some point we should go back to an alien companion.
That or someone from the past or the future, not contemporary.
Yeah,
Earth.
something different,
I think we're gonna cross that bridge when episode 12 airs.
Yeah, and then or maybe even do something along the lines of Deadly Assassin, the episode after Sarah Jane left. There was no companion; it was just the Doctor.
That may be where they're going next year. They did that in 2009 with David Tennant. I mean, he had a run of specials with no regular companion. But
the episode still had companions. But
they were one-offs. They don't really count.
Yeah,
they were one-off companions. What I'm saying is Deadly Assassin didn't have a companion at all.
If you want to be technical, the Castellan could be considered the
yeah.
Yeah. But
I'm like somebody to talk to.
A confidant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then we've all decided. In Series 10, we're going to drag out a couple of diehard batteries and jumpstart Chameleon.
No.
You might need more than a diehard.
Bloody Chameleon, man.
Oh, I know this. What's scary is, though, I was talking about Claire's departure since we've already brought it up. This is going to be Moffat's first writing of a companion departure, isn't it?
No, he wrote out Amy and Rory.
Oh, you're right, Amy and Rory. I forgot about them already. You see, no, but in a way they lived. So
but they died too. That's another thing. Moffat never kills people. Guess what? They went back in time and lived out their lives. They're dead. So I mean, I hate that argument that he never kills anybody for good because they're gone for good. I mean, they're not coming back. I mean, so they died at some point in the early part of the last century. So.
I forgot about Amy and Rory.
Sacrilegious, man. Call yourself a fan.
Oh, maybe it's because their departure story stunk, but that's my own opinion. Okay.
No, I agree.
But still, it's going to be interesting later on. Like I said, we'll talk about that later when we actually see it happen. How they handle it. Okay, so any other points about this particular episode before we'll go ahead and rate it?
No.
Well, we're 1/3 of the way through the series already. I mean, and so far, all 4 episodes have been top notch, in my opinion. So,
the two-parter thing seems to be panning out. It's doing.
Oh yeah. You know what's funny? We had this argument last year during one of the episodes about how some of the stories was too short and needed to be switched out, and that's what we brought up. Said it needs to be either some 2-parters, and so far it's been working. So maybe somebody's been hearing some Omega Files and took their advice.
Well, I'll put it to you this way: if I know for a fact the Moff ain't watching this, man. If he was, they've already run him to the to the hospital in an ambulance because he damn near laughed to death, just sitting there at the screen pointing at us, going, Okay.
To be fair, a 2-parter length isn't necessarily a guarantee of a good pair of episodes. Go back and see the Ganger one. It's not very good. It shouldn't have been 2. I think that's what put them off 2-parters for a while.
Yeah,
I mean, the length of the story doesn't determine how good it is. You can tell a good story in 15 minutes, or like we've seen with Paul McGann in the prequel. That's the perfect example of a short story, 7 minutes. So there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, we've talked about it. We've ranted about it. Let's go ahead and let's rate this sucker, and we'll put it to bed. All right, let's start with AJ. Out of 10, how do you rate Before the Flood?
10.
All righty, good rating. William?
I'm going to give it same as last week's 8.5. It's great. It's a good story.
Okay, Ryan?
Yeah, similar to last week, I give this one an 8, and as a 2-parter, I still have to give it an 8. I mean, it's
all right.
Great. I mean, it's like this one was more open, whereas last week was claustrophobic. So it's nice that to get. I think 2-parters when they have kind of 2 different tone really are good. So yeah, 8 out of 10.
All right, Graham.
Here, now, this is where your story ends. 9 out of 10.
All right, Philip.
I give this 8.5.
All right, Beefhead.
Yeah, the first one was a 6.5 for me. I wasn't feeling it. It was a bit time heisty. Like I said, this one felt more flatlining. 8.5. A very strong end. Sewed up. It improved on what I thought were the flaws with the first one. I can't really fault it, to be honest with you. A great creature added to the pantheon of Doctor Who villains and monsters. I'm just, really pleased, and this is such a strong first third to the run that I just hope this continues. I really do.
Okay, Texas Tim out of 10.
I'm going to give it a 9, and I'll give the pair of them a 9 as well. It's a great two-parter. It's not perfect, though, but again, I've only seen this today twice and once uninterrupted, so I might change my mind later, but I'm gonna stick with a 9 for now.
Okay, Matt Rose out of 10. How do you rate this episode? Matt, are you there?
No, maybe technical difficulties.
Oh, we'll get his rating later.
It's so sweet.
Okay.
That's my thing.
Now, before we depart, let's talk about a little interesting turn of events that happened in this past week.
We're not going to get a rating off you?
Me, personally, 9. I'm going to give this one a solid 9. I'm going to give him because even though the beginning was a bit slow, it did resolve itself quite well. So,
Cool.
9 overall. Okay. Thanks for reminding me. I'm just in one of those moods today. I've been running all over the place this morning. Okay. And Return of the War Doctor.
I have to eat my own words. I've stated in my own videos that never would John Hurt do anything related to Doctor Who again. Because, I mean...
Well, start eating that humble pie, dearie.
Oh, I know.
Yes.
I mean, I couldn't have been the only one, right?
No,
I mean,
there's going to be 3 volumes of this, ain't it?
4.
4.
4 box sets.
Yeah, so
I did not think...
Two is already done, and hopefully they can start doing the next 2 because that recent picture of him with a fan. It's good that he's still doing the therapy, but he looked very thin.
Well, it's the chemo.
That's why it makes me nervous about that.
You know what? Essentially, you're going to get a minimum of 12 stories, all being well.
Yep.
Depending on how his health issues go, you might even get more. But at least you're going to get 12.
A total of 12 full cast audios across 4 volumes.
Yeah,
nice.
I mean, one of my main problems with the War Doctor was, he was a one-off. At least at the time, they wasted an entire regeneration on one story when they could have got, Paul McGann in. But
well, you're gonna say the same thing with McGann. He only had one movie until he came back for 7 minutes. So
yeah. But, I mean, this was like they had the intention to make more than just the TV movie, but this, Moffat just fought him up on a whim and, in essence, wasted regeneration. But it's nice that they're doing more with him. Beyond
in other words, it's not wasted, is it?
I'm going to make a whole lot of people out there crap their pants.
Yeah.
Well,
I used to be the same way. I thought the same thing. I was like, okay, why didn't have McGann come in and do it? But then I listened to a novel called Engines of War.
There you go.
And it leads directly into the events we see in Era of the Zygons. And that actually made his part in that particular episode a lot better to me because it led into that and it kind of showed you a whole nother story that happened just before that. Very well told. And that's why I'm really looking forward to these, is because we're going to find out a little bit more of what exactly all went on in that incarnation besides just blowing up Gallifrey. I think he did a whole lot of other things that kind of broke the promise.
Well, he did it for a long time as well. They use a young picture of John Hurt at the end of that, and by the time we see him in the Day of the Doctor, he's very old. That means he wasn't just an overnight doctor. He was around forever, and so here's the potential to throw a few stories in and say, hey, this is what he was up to during that time.
Yeah, that's it. I think, like Tim says, Moffat's done something there. He's built in a whole wealth that you could actually draw from. And the character is completely bittered, devoid of hope, disparaging. In essence, the 50th is his redemption to a certain degree. So that's going to be an interesting thing to do.
With that being said, I hope there isn't a lot of wisecracking and kind of jokes going on, because
if you read the Engines of War, he wasn't that much of a wisecracker. He was straight out.
Yeah, like in
where he was.
That was a big problem of mine with Day of the Doctor, was because Night of the Doctor specifically went out of its way to say he was.
Look at who he was hanging out with. A couple of wisecrackers. That's the whole point.
But the problem my problem with the War Doctor was he felt like the Doctor, but they go out of their way to explain that he's a warrior. He is bred to be a warrior, and he's not the Doctor. But
he is a Doctor.
Yeah, he is in essence, but even the episodes state that the other Doctors don't really consider him.
It's because they weren't proud of the fact of what they had done. They weren't proud of it all, so they put it out of their mind. It's
You see, so with these, you're going to get a little bit more of that, into why this particular incarnation was so repressed. They didn't even think about him or even acknowledge him.
Mm-hmm.
And you get a little bit of that in Engines of War. That's why I always highly recommend that book now. If you get a chance, listen to it. It's out on audio.
Was that Gary Russell who wrote that?
I believe it was Gary.
George Mann.
George Mann, sorry.
Was it George Mann? Okay, sorry. It's been a little while since I read it, or listened to it. But yeah, it actually moved me quite a bit, because I'll still always jokingly call him, the Puma Doctor, because he was pulled out of Moffat's ass. But his parts in the story were always pretty good, and when I listened to Engines of War, it made it that much better.
Well, could you just as easily say though that the 12 regeneration limit was pulled out of Robert Holmes's ass back in the day? I mean, it is what it is. Every subsequent person that runs the show builds upon what we had before, the mythology of the program. So there's nothing wrong with adding something to it, I don't think.
Yeah,
but to have the War Dog at that time, it didn't add anything. It was just for that one episode. That was my main problem with it. It's all good to add something to the mythos and build upon that.
Every one of them does it. Every guy that has run the show adds all kinds of things to it. They build on.
That adds to the mythos. This was just for Day of the Doctor.
Yeah, but you got to remember, this is when Eccleston came out, and then we had such a big gap from 8th to 9th. That's why you got Big Finish. That Time War, had to be dealt with. Luckily, like Tim just said, we got Big Finish, because after the War Doctor stories, we got McGann starts off the Time War.
Look, I can see where you're coming from, because like I said, I was kind of disappointed they didn't go with McGann being in that particular scenario, but at the same time, John Hurt, brilliant actor, and sure, he only brought on for one episode, but now, despite his physical limitations, he can come in and do Big Finish audio and help fill in that gap a wee bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So. Also, if it makes you feel any better, guess what else is coming out?
Don't say River Song.
The
Time War.
The Time War. Yeah.
The Time War starts.
See, again, they're playing in the margins of what we got a hint of in that minisode, because he's obviously not dealing with it. He's like, you know what? All this BS is going on in the universe, but when he catches up with those Sisterhood on Karn after he crashes there, actually. He in other words, he makes it clear like he's not bothered with what's going on. Really, I don't think that's why he regenerates. It's that guy.
Yeah, sorry. I just want to add. I'd love to see more of Paul McGann on the screen, but we get him on Big Finish audio, and he's brilliant in it.
Yeah. I mean, something that got me really excited when I heard the news was they just announced the 5-inch figure of the Night of the Doctor. 8th Doctor, and that's just brilliant.
And not to mention, we've got Diary of River Song coming up, and I think that's when she's going to interact with the 8th Doctor. And
her last story with the 8th.
And then also in Doom Coalition 2.
Yeah,
we saw her die with Tennant.
Huh?
We're gonna figure it out when the Big Finish audio comes on in January with her.
Yeah, they haven't really covered that yet, but we'll find out how they get around it. They're usually pretty good at that stuff. So,
What I like though is that even Moffat has been quoted as saying he leaves a lot of stuff open for them to fill in the blanks, and that's pretty cool. I like that. That means that, and especially now that Big Finish, and look at how great they are. They got this contract now; they can do new series stuff. So that's what they're already been doing this for a couple of years. They're within the timelines of each Doctor, and that's really clever. I think that's really cool. And you can't get more. You can complain all day long that we don't get enough on TV, and that's true. I mean, we get, 3 months out of the year if we're lucky. But I mean, in the meantime, you have all these other books and Big Finish going on, and comic books and all this other stuff. So I mean, there's always something new with Doctor Who.
So yeah, that's why I love Big Finish Audio. If you're not listening to it, you should be, because
Shame on you. Yeah.
subscribers get more.
How dare you?
Other parts of money. Yeah.
Yeah, they need more money than just Phillips. Okay.
And my brothers.
And the Ronnie, I buy him.
Okay, and AJ's.
And the BeefHead has departed, apparently. Oh dear.
Well, he might be having some difficulties. You know, no,
He's
worry.
settled with-
AJ don't pay. It's his wife that pays.
Oh. Yeah.
Apply to burn.
But I heavily recommend, if you get a chance, Ryan, pick up Engines of War. It's worth the listen. It's a very well told story, and it leads right into the events that you see, you know, with the War Doctor and Day of the Doctor. So if you get a chance, listen to it. Okay, well, folks, I'm going to leave, unless anyone else wants to throw anything in on any of this, go, you know, if you want, hop right in before we close up.
Oh, yes, I can't wait for next week because that little trailer they showed with Maisie Williams looks cool.
Ah, that's right. The girl who died.
I want to see what the Meyer can do. Yeah.
Then we got that dude in the trailer who looks like Odin.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, he was in the
Yeah.
trailer, and the Next Time trailer.
Yeah. It's like an upside.
Oh, right, okay.
Just think, we can hook up Cyber Odin with Cyber Break.
Cyber Squad.
The
Cyber
Cyber
Squad?
Avengers. Okay, folks, let's go ahead and get goodbyes from everybody who's still here, because Beef had some technical difficulties. All right, let's start with AJ.
Catch you guys next week, and just don't miss the girl who died.
Okay, William.
Thank you for having me here. Hope to be here next week.
Ryan.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun as always. I'm really looking forward to next week's episode, and until then, yeah.
All right, Graham.
Well, apparently a girl's going to die next week. I know I'll be there.
Phillip.
I hope to find my voice again next week. See you then.
Texas Tim.
Catch you next time.
And Beef says goodbye. And Matt, are you even there?
No, he got punished.
Night, night, Matt.
All right, I'll keep a snoring sound effect here. Good night, Matt. Good night, everybody. See you next week for
Take
the.
it easy.
Yeah.